Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/infidelity, where OP's cheating ex is now so upset that he got together with another woman. Let's begin. My partner cheated on me and our 3 children. Posted by Reddit user R.A. Rascal. Around 2 months ago, my girlfriend said she feels like we were roommates raising our 3 children together, and not lovers. I was on the verge of losing my partner, so I started working on trying to fix this. I started writing her little notes, buying her flowers more often, and surprising her. She has been going out rather consistent about 1 time a week for a long time with her friends, and I've always had no reason not to trust her. Until one night she didn't come home. She went to our child's best friend's dad's house one night and didn't come home. She went there with her friend and was on her period and said nothing happened. However, I was quite upset. I work away out of town 2 weeks at a time and 2 weeks at home. So when I went to work this time, she hardly spoke to me, maybe once a day. And normally for the last 9 years, it was consistently every day. While I was at work, she went to her friend's birthday party and her mom watched the kids. When I came home, I immediately knew something was off, so I looked at her phone while she was sleeping. At her Maps timeline, didn't even look at any texts or phone calls or photos or anything, and she ended up going there all night and not her friend's birthday. Then again, one more time for 30 minutes briefly. I woke her up and she denied everything. I got his number from his ex, since it's our kid's beat friend's child, and texted him and asked. He ignored me, called her, and she later confessed a couple of days later. Obviously, I was in shambles, didn't know what to do. We have 3 children together and they need to be taken care of regardless of what's going on between mom and dad. So I stayed at the house and was still doing all the fatherly duties. See if we could make it work for the kids. But she gave me the cold shoulder. She wouldn't delete him off of Facebook. Asked me to be civil with him still for our son to keep his best friend. And showed zero interest in fixing the relationship for 2 weeks straight. If I had questions or concerns, or expressed my feelings toward it all, she would shut down, says she needs space, and go run to her best friend's house and leave me with the kids all night, sometimes all day. I finally gave up. I had been doing all of the child duties, cooking, cleaning, school pickup, drop-off, play dates, reading, everything, while she just continues to shut me out. I needed support, and she had all the friends and family to talk to. So I reached out to an old friend who went through a similar situation. We reconnected, went and had a walk, did some activities together, and I vented to her, and she let me sleep over at her house for a couple of days to clear my head. I should add, if it even matters, because in my mind, I was single anyways at this point, that nothing happened sexually between the two of us. She was someone I could lean my head on and talk to finally, as I've had no one to do that with. My ex found out I was there, went on Facebook, found her address, went there at 5 in the morning and freaked out. She said we were still together, said we were working things out, and now she's messaging me 200 times a day, saying she's sorry and she's willing to do anything to make it work. Said she will change, said she will do this and that I'm the best thing to ever happen to her. And to be honest, it's just fucking with my head. Do I make it work with my baby mama after all of that? It really only feels like she's doing this now because I hung out with another girl. And if I never hung out with another girl, she would still be doing the same stuff she was doing. It feels like manipulation at this point. Just a little rant to myself. I worked 2 weeks straight, 12 hours per day, come home and think my partner needed a break from parenting. So I would do everything when I was home regardless, without complaining because that's my job as a father. There was one day that I was home from work. I asked her to deal with the kids and take them to school, and she just wouldn't. And I ended up taking them to school late anyways, even after I had expressed that I wanted one day to sleep in the past 6 a.m. Maybe I wasn't a good partner to the relationship in terms of having as many dates as we should have had, or our communication wasn't there. But I don't think that warrants her doing what she did. Well, you are correct, OP. She is just manipulating you. I mean, look at it seriously, man. She didn't give a fuck until you were together with another woman, and she would still and continue to cheat on you and disrespect you if the threat of losing her comfortable life did not become a reality. You could still be an amazing father to your children, but not by living with her. Your girlfriend chose to be deceitful and lie to you and cheat. I don't know what proof you're still looking for. Find your place, walk away from her, as you will never trust her again. If you do stay in this relationship, if you do decide to take her back, you will end up being her bitch for the rest of your life. Do you want that as a role model for your boys? And now for today's second story. I relapse every time the sex thoughts come up. Posted by Reddit user Independence Only. If part of the recovery of infidelity is living through with the facts, knowing that she cheated, developed feelings for someone else, finding out that while she was with you, she grew emotionally invested in someone where the messages made her feel nice, meeting up was nice, and the 2 times they had sex was nice, putting her husband and 2 kids to the side for her own pleasure, knowing it would ruin the family and cause us to separate, how do you recover? Brief backstory. The affair partner was an asshole when my wife realized she needed to end things. In the beginning, they had a good relationship. He painted a good picture of himself, but his true colors came out when she didn't want him anymore, as he felt entitled to her and thought she would leave me for him. Not to say she was unhappy with us, she wanted us to move out, do bigger things with our family. She confided in this person with details of our relationship. But then, she realized she was more unhappy with the fact she cheated and couldn't believe that what we had was not as bad as she thought. It wasn't until she was caught and exposed, then wanted us to have couples therapy, that it was time to cut things off with this person, which led to his crazed behavior. He has now been showing aggression over the phone to her, texting and yelling on calls. We're currently not living together because she has cheated on me. She thought it was over and wanted to leave with the kids to be by herself. But she wants to reconcile and doesn't know how to deal with this person's behavior, crying and full of guilt, sorrow, and shame, missing the family and what she had before she even met this person online. She realized she hasn't fought as hard for us before the cheating, and realized that I have always been trying to save our marriage and our family. I'm struggling with both kids. They live with me, she's alone, and I know she's not seeing him at the moment. We're trying to work things out together. But with all the thoughts I've had with her and this guy, and the fact that he's still trying to get in contact with her, how do we recover? We know we can't truly start until this guy gets off her back and is out of the picture. I don't think I should talk to the guy. He's not my problem. He's my wife's problem and she knows it. He tried to message me to argue and fight for her, but that was the most lame attempt ever. I am trying to see her efforts in our recovery. Can we truly do so? Thank you, everyone. And now for OP's first update. I am writing this from her perspective. I know it's strange, but please, it's a very troubling time for me and I just wanted to write it this way. Please comment as if you're addressing her and feel free to comment towards mine. First, I have a mental problem. I am not a content person and I'm very lonely. I don't come from a big family. I don't have a lot of moments in my life that I'm happy about. The very best thing that's probably ever happened to me was my husband and my 2 daughters. We were together since high school and 5 years into dating, we had our first daughter in 2017 and it was his idea to quickly marry to start our family. But right before I was pregnant, I had fell in a really dark place. I found comfort in another man and it was very toxic. I cheated on my husband and slept with this person twice. My husband found out in 2018 and it broke him. But we had a child to think about, so he decided to forgive me and we started to reconcile. The other person was out of the picture already. So years later, he has some tough times, but his life has gotten better and he recovered from it. We are going out a lot, making trips, and the sex was amazing. During the pandemic, we had our second baby, and although it was tough, we managed to have happy times still between us and our daughters. Last year, I started feeling very unhappy with us. He's recovered and done better for himself, but I was still friendless and jobless. I would complain about how we never had a proposal, a wedding, and our marriage was shaky since finding out I cheated. He's done most of the heavy lifting for the family while I stayed a housewife. I was very conscious, but I had always had attention on social media from guys, and that was how the first guy I met happened. Now it's happened again. I got close and formed a relationship with someone this past summer. I met with him twice and had sex with him twice. I was really going back and forth with my husband about how unhappy I was, and I told him I wanted us to separate. He didn't take it lightly and kept trying to keep us together. I have saved up enough last month to leave and move out. I realized that I'm a huge problem and thought it was best for me to remove myself since now I have already cheated twice and he wasn't going to take me back. Then that's when he started connecting many dots and found out I had cheated again. After this, he was still fighting to save the marriage. I always admired his will and love, but I'm such a terrible person. My husband expressed so much love to me and I hate that I did this to him. And I have shame, guilt, and I know I ruined us. Me and this new person still have an ongoing relationship. I've been unhappy with him too, since my husband found out about him, because he's taunting my husband and even threatened him if he didn't leave me and him alone. I don't even know what commitment I have with him, but we talked often, and we had sex already in my new place. My husband and I have still had sex too during this time, but I don't even want to be intimate with anyone right now. I called up my husband one night, crying, because I wish we could just go back to 2015, before our lives became like this. We jumped into marriage and had kids, while I was broken and I ended up breaking him. I am feeling so lost with myself. I love and care about my husband, but I know I dragged this course for too long and I am just unsure what I want to do anymore. And now for OP's second update. During a therapy session, I asked why did you cheat? She said she was lonely. She knew I loved her, but thought I didn't like the person she was. This other person never made her feel like he didn't like her. On the other hand, she loves me and she likes me. So I asked the therapist, so what can be explained of her cheating if she loves me, but dealing with her own issues? Is love and cheating really in a gray area that can coexist? If I loved her but didn't like her as a person, wouldn't I have the grounds to cheat on her instead but didn't? If you love someone, you don't cheat on them. You don't betray them or ruin the trust. That's how I see it. And funny enough, that's how my wife expected me to follow. But ironically, she cheated. As I'm writing this, I can clearly see that I tried too much trying to understand why things happened, and I know I have to move on. It's just one of those days you question why this is life right now. And now, for OP's final update. I have a sex addiction. I would cope with stress a lot by masturbating and having sex with my wife. I slowly stopped using porn and mostly just imagined me and my wife, and I use pictures too. If you followed my old post about the 2 times my wife cheated, you'll see how unhealthy I was coping with her physical affairs. After the first time she cheated on me back in 2018, we had sex almost every single day for the next 2 months. It was amazing and all, but it was unhealthy. With this second time, I'm calling for divorce. However, I still find myself looking at messages of how they've done it, and my mind goes places, and I hate it. But I know what I've done with my wife, and to think about it, I'm ashamedly turned on and off at the same time. Even during this time, I've had sex with my wife too poorly to cope with it. But to me, it's like I don't like you, but I don't mind fucking you. So here's a big fuck you to my ex-wife. It just feels like I keep reliving both D-days every time I think of her fucking someone else. God damn it, OP. Don't you have any hobbies? Seriously, man. Stop masturbating, stop looking at porn, and stop having sex with your soon-to-be ex-wife. If you really need something to get your mind off of things, then try going to the gym. Try changing careers. Try other things. Some healthy things. Productive things that will help you for your future. You should really go to therapy for this, man. Seriously. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.